Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the A2B podcast, your number one source for military entrepreneurship and entertainment. Make sure that you guys hit that follow button. Make sure that you guys, if you guys haven't done so already, subscribe to our channel because we have content on a weekly basis that will bring nothing but value into your life. As always, I am joined with my gracious co-host, Barry Bull. What's up, Barry? How you doing today, brother?
I'm pissed off because I'm a toxic vet. And every day I go on TikTok, I leave toxic vet comments all over Meech's posts.
100%.
Because every active duty member is a pissant, just denigrating my beloved Corps with every dancing TikTok video out there.
Where, guys, we have a part 2 for our part 1 of Meech Speaks podcast. We brought him in, guys. He's here on recruiting duty, so we had to take advantage of the time that he has on the West Coast. So we wanted to bring him in, and we wanted to have a meaningful conversation with him. So, Meech, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. And once again, what's going on, everybody? It's that ordinary podcaster with the extraordinary thoughts that tells you to stop being great and be extraordinary. I'm Demetrius Thickman, also known as Meech Speaks from the Talking Crazy podcast. Back on the A to B podcast for part 2. Happy to be here.
Hell yeah, man. I definitely appreciate you staying along. We've been talking for about 45 minutes already. And essentially, brother, we want to transition into something. Obviously, we talked about your NJP, your first, essentially like your first enlistment and a half in your military career. You obviously went through adversity.
Yes.
And something that really resonated with me in everything that you said in that first part of the podcast was that you took extreme accountability of your actions. And then now I want to know, how has that extreme accountability really affected you, whether it will be positive or negative, in your military career as of today?
So, how has it affected me, whether good or bad? That NJP really, really was something that I needed. You know what I mean? Like, that NJP was something that I really needed. And I say that because if I didn't get that NJP, I would have never owned up to my own actions. I would have always blamed other people. I would have always looked and pointed the finger at everybody else. So in order for me to get that NJP, I had to take a step back and say, like, yo, like, I messed up. So every time that I enter a situation, whether I have this much fault in it or if I have this much fault in it, I always look at it and say, like, yo, like, you're fucked up, bro. Like, how can you fix that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you say to Marines? You're a leader. You're a staff NCO. What are conversations that you have with Marines when they're in trouble? Maybe they're facing an NJP. Maybe it's not as serious as that. What do you say to them?
I always level with everybody. You know what I mean? Like, and I lay it all out. I think a good example of that, I can use, just showing up late. I'm like this. Yeah, I get it. Everybody show up late, but at the exact same time, you did show up late. We have to both admit that. You see what I'm saying? Like, we both have to admit that. Whether you say your phone didn't go off, whether you say traffic, whether you say you couldn't find this, you showed up late. You know what I mean? Is it a minor offense? 100%. Can it turn into something greater? 100%. But we got to address that. But you got to accept that. Because if you can't accept something as minor as showing up late, then how can you accept anything else? How can you accept any good? You know what I mean? Like, people love to sit back and accept the good in life. Yeah, they get promoted. I did it. But as soon as they say that they messed up, all of a sudden it's everybody else's fault. So I always tell people, I was like this, if you can't accept the bad, why do you even deserve good in your life? If you can't accept it.
Yeah, that's
powerful.
Yeah, 100%. It goes back to accountability.
It's acceptance.
It goes back to accepting accountability and understanding that you're gonna fuck up. Like, winners are just losers that tried one more time.
Yeah.
That's all it is. You see what I'm saying? If you're trying to do something big, specifically something as big as being successful in the toughest military branch in the United States, you will fail.
The Marine Corps, for the record.
The Marine Corps, for the record, not the Air Force or the Army, for that matter.
No, not the Salvation Army.
Yeah. So now the question that I have for you, brother, is you are an instructor right now at the MACE.
Instructor trainer, yeah.
Instructor trainer, okay. So can you first of all, can you let us know what the MACE is?
The Martial Arts Center of Excellence, currently now known as the Martial Arts Fitness Center of Excellence. Martial Arts Fitness Center of Excellence.
Why did they change it?
Because of Force Fitness.
Oh, okay. So all 4 fitness instructor go there.
Yeah, so let me fix it again. The Martial Arts and Fitness Center of Excellence. Just in case nobody heard me say like the "and." I don't want nobody to hit me like
What is
this.
that? Is that the MAFs?
The MAFC.
Okay.
The MAFC. I just have a bad habit of saying the MACE because I work on the McMap side.
Oh.
Yeah,
okay,
so it's
okay,
not the
okay.
MACE, it's the MAFC.
Okay, so the reason why I wanted to touch up on that, right, is because specifically with me.
Yes.
I was a black belt. Mm-hmm. Okay. I got my black belt very early on in my career. I think I was like a senior corporal.
Yes.
You know, so back then, 2011, 2012, that was regular until they changed the order that now you needed to be a sergeant.
Yes.
In order for you to get your black belt. But I got my black belt way before that all that stuff went down, right? Me personally, I think of getting the tab as like, why the fuck would I want to get haste again? Right? And that's the way that I look at it.
No,
And I know that there's a
100%,
lot of Marines out there that probably feel the same way. It's like, man, I'm a brown belt, I'm a green belt, or even I'm a black belt. Why the fuck would I want to get haste again?
Yeah, but did you get hazed or did you get trained?
No, I got fucking hazed.
Albert.
I got fucking hazed. I'm sorry. That's
You're
the way,
such a bad recruit.
But that's the way that I looked at it.
You're a
That's
bad
the way
recruit.
that's the way that I looked at it.
We got trained.
So I never wanted to actually go to further, my either to go as an instructor or as an instructor trainer.
Yeah.
So what would you say to all of those Marines out there that might be considering going to being an instructor or maybe even an instructor trainer at the MACE? What would be your one piece of advice for them?
Hydrate.
Wow.
Hydrate and eat gummy bears, simple sugars. I can't stress that enough. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people come up there and they have this one expectation of what McMap is or what it's like to be an instructor. But depending on where your lineage is coming from, like if you had a bad instructor, you're gonna have a bad taste in your mouth about McMap. But if you had like a solid instructor, then you're going to know exactly what you need to do to prepare. But people always ask me that, like, hey, I'm about to go on this MAI course, or I'm about to come up to the MACE and become an IT. What do you think I should do to prepare?
Trainer.
Become an instructor trainer. What do you think I should do? And all I can tell them is like, dog, like, you're going to have to hydrate. You know what I mean? Like, that's all I can tell you. If you didn't do anything prior to this, like, it's not like it's just going to just pick up overnight. Like,
yeah. So what you've been doing this a very long time. What's like your overall goal with, the individual or even the whole class? Like, what are you really hoping to drive home to these Marines overall? Right. Obviously, they're gonna belt up, as we say, and go from a web belt to a tan. Well, they're already tans. To gray and green and brown. What are you trying to like really drive home? Big picture.
I don't want them to enable the virus. And a lot of people, like when you sit back and you see McMap, especially like when you see ITs, like we're on Instagram with our arms crossed and we look tough and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
You do look very tough.
You guys are very tough. No,
just being real.
But no, look, the motherfuckers that work at the motherfuckers, no offense.
You gotta fight them.
But the motherfuckers that work at the MACE, they're some badass motherfuckers, dog.
No, they are.
I'm sorry. Like, we tend to fucking forget what it means to be hand-on-hand fucking combat.
But can I tell you what I don't
live it every fucking day.
Can I tell you what I don't like about the McMap program? When you're doing things like other martial arts, right? Like jujitsu, right? I do jujitsu and stuff, okay? As Marines, it just seems like we're extreme all the time.
Yeah.
All the time we're extreme, and the risk to reward, for me, it's not there. Because we end Marines' careers in these courses. Literally, you're getting medically retired. You got injured. You got this. You got that. When you're going to like a dojo and you're training martial arts, whatever the discipline is, with like guys that know, you're learning the technique. Yeah, you're getting your butt kicked, but it's very like a control. I feel it's more controlled.
Control environment, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
For me, and just to go back to the question that was asked earlier, like when I have a squad, when I have students, I don't want them to contribute to the virus. And I think this is going to allude a little bit more over to what you were talking about. I don't want them to be on Instagram with their arms crossed looking tough, but I don't want them to be standing in their basic warrior stance and their arms are down here. You know, I want them to be able to do exactly what we're teaching them, and to be able to teach it to other people in a way that, you know, somebody that's never fought before can understand this and understand the whole aspect of what McMap is. And a lot of times, like, you know, like you see it and people are going balls to the walls and they're trying to hurt each other, but at the exact same time, like, you know, you still need to be able to train them. And then you hear about McMap being one big haze fest. The reason why it's a big haze fest is because the instructor that led them couldn't teach them the martial arts side, so they only taught them combat conditioning. So you did burpees for like an hour, but then when it was time to go over the techniques, that was 15 minutes, and then
that's exactly what happened to me.
You know what I mean? And it's a common
that's exactly
thing.
what happened to me.
You know,
well, don't get me wrong though. Once I was belting down from brown to black, that's when I felt that it was a haze fest, that it was not worth it. Because if I would have felt the same way throughout all my belts, I probably would have been like, man, this was worth it. But the only time that it was really worth it, it was when I was belting down from brown to black. That's when I was really taught like actual fighting.
You know what's so crazy about that is that like some of like the techniques that you use the most was probably in the tan belt syllabus. Lead hand, rear hand.
Yeah, exactly.
Uppercut.
Like the fucking triangle choke. That's one of the things that you have to do whenever you're a black belt. It's like, when the fuck do you utilize a triangle choke?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, don't get me wrong, it works very effectively. But at the same time, it's like, when are you really gonna have somebody on the ground and you're gonna be like, oh man, let me put my feet all the way up here to fucking tap them out?
The biggest testament to you as an instructor, especially an instructor or instructor trainer, is the fact that like ask your students to get in the basic warrior stance. If their basic warrior stance looks like shit, then you haven't taught them anything. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like if their hands are down here by their chest, their chin's leading the forward, you know what I mean? Like you're not teaching them anything. But they can go out and do burpees, they can imitate the techniques, but they can't actually utilize those in a dynamic manner. That's crazy. That's wild. And it just shows that you don't know it and you didn't show your students it. And that's one of the biggest things that I always take into consideration when I'm pushing out ITs back into the fleet, is that I don't want y'all to do what I initially was like in the very beginning when I was IT, because I didn't know any better. And it took me to come up to the MACE to truly see what it was like behind the curtains and the big picture why.
So let me ask you this though. When did you try to be a martial arts instructor trainer at the MACE?
When did I try to go up there?
Yeah.
Well, initially I tried to go up there when I graduated. I graduated in 2014. And I tried to go up there, but I was getting ready to go on a deployment for the special purpose MAGTAF, so I couldn't. They wouldn't cut it for me. So I then came out to California. Well, I actually asked my monitor. I was like, "Can you send me to California? I mean, to the MACE?" And he said, "No, but I have California." So I was like, "All right, well, I guess I'm going back to Cali."
Yeah.
So I came out to Cali, and somebody was like, "Hey, like, you know, you could put in your application to go work up at the MACE." And I finally submitted it around like 2020.
So it's an application process then?
Yes, it's now like a process where it's like at first it used to be where you could submit it and come up here. Now we're just recruiting, and we're only looking at the students that graduate this class or graduated previous classes that were like the top ones there. So like it's really getting to a point where like we want the best of the best to be up there.
Okay.
If, you know, and I'll say this, as a student, I don't mind getting beat up. I think that's like a good part of the training, because you have to experience that pain. But if it gets to a point where I've had people that are instructing me, it's like, I'm not learning. You know, I don't 100%. Like that and stuff like that. Let me ask you this. If there was one thing you could change about McMap, well, let me ask you this. Okay, so when I joined the Marine Corps, we had line training.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And it was very like post World War II.
Oh, I'm tracking.
And like it was like super like sweep and stomp, like with a smash.
Grab, twist, pull. Yeah, I'm tracking
pull, grab. That's what it was. You know, I still remember this stuff. And we transitioned into McMap, and we were all kind of laughing like, what? Like what is, you know? Do you really believe in the program? I know you do, but I guess what I'm saying is, do you see longevity with McMap? Is there a way to make it better?
Oh, you know, I definitely see longevity in this. You know what I mean? Like, you know, the program is now, I want to say it came out 2021. We're old enough to drink now. You know what I mean? Like, and it's definitely longevity in it. Now, when we say like, if I could change anything, I think it would always just be down to the fact that the instructors and instructor trainers need to spar more. You can't teach something if you don't do it. Imagine if your math teacher came out and said, hey man, the last time I seen this problem was like 3 years ago when I went through the school. Then he's not qualified to do it, you know? And it took me to have to go up there. And I remember it. Like when y'all would see me in California when I was teaching McMath and stuff like that, I had about like probably, I would say like 40% of like knowledge. And that's not a lot. Imagine going up to the MACE and everybody else there, they're not at 40%. They've already beaten the game. They're in the end game now. And like if you ever like played a game before and you see somebody's character and you can't see what their power level is because it's in red, that's because it's just so much higher than yours. Yeah. And the reason why is because they're constantly doing it. They're sparring. We're sparring every single day. We're getting some type of training in. We're doing some type of way to make the program better. And then when you go back out there and you see the other ITs and it's just a facade of like, bro, like you need to be training. You need to really be out here doing what you're supposed to be teaching. And that's the biggest thing, man. When you really do it, like when you're really doing it, it shows in a way that it's just like, oh shit, man, like this really works. But if you just do it after you graduate, then it's like, all right, well, I mean, you can only do.
Now, let me ask you this though. I got a good one. I got a good one.
Okay.
I got a really good one. Okay. So, MARSOC, Marine Corps Special Operations Command.
Yes.
I had an operator that I went to career school with, and he was a gray belt. And he was confronted about it. We asked him, hey,
career
brother,
school means he was a staff sergeant.
He was a staff sergeant. Hey, brother, you're only a gray belt. How come you're a MARSOC Marine with only a gray belt? This was the answer that he gave me. It's like, when I am in a firefight or when I am in some type of kinetic connection with somebody, these are the questions that I ask. Do I have a weapon? Yes. Okay. End of conversation. Okay, but what if you don't have a weapon? Okay, my next question is, does my friend have a weapon? Yes. The answer is most likely going to be yes. Then I don't have to worry about it. How would you say to all those people that say that McMap is not necessary with how much advanced technology we have?
There's always that possibility. You know what I mean? You know, like when you talk about like Corporal Woodridge, you know, who utilized bayonet techniques in Afghanistan, you know, and I could be wrong, if we Afghanistan or Iraq, but he utilized like, you know, vertical butt stroke smash, you know, he had a weapon, but in that moment right there, he could not deploy that weapon. So he had to switch over to the techniques that we had. And you have to ask yourself, like, you know, would you rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it? You know?
Okay.
That's an easy one.
Yeah.
Obviously, you would definitely rather have it and not
but
need it.
There's people that say that,
Can we be honest? The only people that care about McMap are the MAIs, though. That's real.
Yeah.
The only ones that care about the McMap program are the MAIs. And, you know, I don't necessarily know that I have a good answer and a solution for that. I mean,
but you also got to take into consideration, gentlemen, is that the IT course is like one of the biggest leadership courses that you will ever have within the Marine Corps, and I stand on that.
But that's what I'm gonna go with, right? We had a sergeant major. Luckily, we're blessed enough to somebody that was in that position. You get a package.
Yes.
2 outstanding Marines.
Sure.
Outstanding Marines. One has done a B-billet. The other one is an MAI. It's an MAI instructor. Is that the proper
MAI?
MAI. Now, you have a Marine with a B-billet. You have a Marine with an MAI. Which one are you picking if the sole decision was rest up to you for those 2 Marines to get promoted?
It's no question it's the B-billet. MAI cannot compete with a B-billet. I don't care if it was MSG, drill instructor, or recruiter.
Oh, we're talking about like an SDA, because like when we say like B-billet, I'm thinking like Sergeant's Course instructor, staff and CO, like anything outside of his MOS.
Negative.
Okay.
Nope, we're talking big 3. The big 3.
Yeah, the big 3.
Oh, well,
wait, hold on a second, because we might confuse people. Big 3 is recruiting, drill instructor, and combat instructor.
Marine security guard.
That's what I'm saying. It gets confusing.
Marine security guard.
Okay, so you're taking out combat instructors out of there.
Well, I did that on purpose.
Okay.
I got love for combat instructors. I think it's great that it's a B-billet. But For the MSG Marines, it only counts as a B-billet unless, if you're a staff NCO and you went out there as a staff NCO.
Yeah.
I see young Marines all the time that make the decision to go
Yes,
to MSG.
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
And then they come back and they're like a senior sergeant, right? And then they get promoted to staff sergeant. They get histed to go on recruiting. And they're like, what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, dude.
So let me ask you this. What is the MACE currently doing in order for them to get more people attracted into their course?
I wish I could tell you. I really do. But it's definitely some changes that are happening up there.
Okay.
But until those changes are officially finalized and ready to be pushed out, I can't even tell you.
Okay, but do you guys struggle by like getting people up there to do the
No, our classes, you're talking about like to come up there to be ITs?
Yeah, to be
Oh
ITs.
no. Last course I think we had over like 30 something people. Like we've been jam packed for a minute now. As far as like students running 3 squads or less. No less than 3 squads.
Okay, that's interesting.
And the reason why is because like the it's not just the physical aspect of McMap, but it's the leadership aspect of it. When Marines come up there, like we're not even taking into consideration what we put the Marines through to make them these better Marines. They're literally going through adversity that will help them become not only just become ITs, but they're going to become better leaders. They're going to become better husbands, fathers, mothers, sisters, brothers. They're walking away an overall better person. And that is one of the biggest things that people see, and it's just like, wow. I say that because of the simple fact that I speak from my perspective. I was a corporal when I went up there, and I learned all of these things as a corporal. So much so that when I went into sergeant's course, there was nothing new that I was really learning as far as leadership, because I had already learned it when I went to the MACE. I had already been through that adversity. I seen what it was like to quit. I know what it's like for somebody to depend on me. I know what it's like to give up. I know these feelings, and I'm already prepped to go into the situation. So it's like I'm being set up to be legitimately the best Marine within the battalion every single time I go there.
Okay, now can you walk us through, like, how long is the course?
7 weeks, yes.
7 weeks, okay.
That's a long time.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so he enjoys every fucking second of it. I can tell you his fucking face. Okay, but can you walk us through, like, the different things that, like, I guess the syllabus in maybe like a minute or 2 minutes of, when you guys get brand new instructors to where you guys, graduate them, what do you guys put them through? I guess a better question will be, what can people expect when they go to the martial arts instructor training of
martial arts instructor?
Yeah, because we all think in terms of boot camp, right? Like first phase, second phase.
Yeah,
third
exactly.
phase.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, you also got to take into consideration these guys are already MAIs, but at the exact same time, these MAIs that are coming up here, they have not necessarily, we don't know how long they've been MAIs. We don't know the bad habits that they've picked up along the way either. We don't know who taught them and who made them MAIs, because once again, your lineage matters.
Yeah.
If I come from a solid IT, I'm probably going to be a solid MAI. But if I come from an IT that wasn't as good, then I'm probably not going to be like that. So we run them back through tan, gray, green again, and we're testing them out. We're going over these. We're pretty much going over, like, the first 3 weeks is almost like a review of your entire MAI course.
So you're stripping them down, making sure that
getting all those bad habits out, habits out, showing you what right looks like, and also explaining the why to everything. So from there, now you can only imagine, like, the first 3 weeks is almost like a review of an MAI course, but we're showing you what right looks like, even in their rooms, and every MAI knows what the room looks like, but you're going to see your IT in that room, and you're going to see your IT in that corner by himself, sparring every student, and he's showing you this is exactly how the program's supposed to be. This is what training looks like.
When you say sparring, what do you mean?
Like standing the ground. I mean, not standing the ground. Standing free sparring and ground fighting. So, for example,
have headgear on.
Yes, 100%. So I got headgear. I got a mouthpiece in. I got groin pro. I got 16-ounce gloves. I got shin pro on. I got my mat shoes, and I'm about to go in there and fight 12 students standing, and then they're going to strip, and then I'm going to have to turn around and grapple those exact same 12 students.
Wow.
And I don't come out at all.
That's wow.
And the reason behind that is because
that's
so
what I'm saying.
easy.
They're a bunch of fucking badass dudes, man. I'm telling you.
And the reason behind that is to show y'all, like, this is what training looks like. This is what it looks like when you actually do the training. You know what I mean? It's so easy to, hey, can you take my rounds? Hey, can you do my technique? Hey, can you do this? No, you IT, get out there. This is what you're supposed to be doing.
So you really have no sympathy. You're like, I just fought these 12 guys standing, and then on the ground, get your freaking butt out there.
Yeah, 100%. You know, like I look at like when you come in here and you're like, oh well, this is what my don't tell me this is what your IT showed you. You had the books just like everybody else. You teach this. You're a disciple of this program just like everybody else is. You got to practice this program just like I do. This program won't work unless you work in it, and you have to work in it. And that's something I feel like we harp on throughout the entirety of it.
Now, let me ask you this. What ranks are the people that work up there at the MACE?
That work there, sergeant, staff sergeant, and gunnery sergeant.
Okay, so sergeant, staff sergeant, and gunnies.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I saw a video very recently of you that says that they are the same rank as you.
Yes.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Oh, so the same rank as you. We've all seen it before. You know what I mean? Like the guy to your left, to your right, whether that's a sergeant, whether that's a staff sergeant, he's the same rank as you. You know? But you up early in the morning and he's still in his bed. You know, you can't even trust him to submit the morning report on time, and he the same rank as you. You stay late with the Marines, but for some reason, he felt like he needed to go to his appointment, and then that appointment turned into, I'm just going to go home. But meanwhile, you still there, and he the same rank as you. You be task saturated, overworked, tired, feeling like you want to get out. Meanwhile, he having the time of his life, and he the same rank as you, and don't even know what it's like to be the same rank as you. And I brought that up because that's something that we see on a regular basis within this organization. Somebody who knows that for the fact that they're going to get paid on the 1st and the 15th and feel like they're going to show up and quiet quit at our job. Meanwhile, you pick up the slack and get tasked out because we love to reward the hard worker with more work. Meanwhile, the guy who's literally the exact same rank as me is not doing anything. And I end up getting out because I'm tired. I'm burnt out. I want something better. I want to be appreciated. I want to go to a job that will appreciate. And this motherfucker stays in and continues to keep getting promoted.
Here's what the Marine Corps doesn't understand. And I agree with you 100%, by the way.
That's like a full clip.
That's a full fucking clip.
That's like...
Here is what the Marine Corps does not understand. What the Marine Corps does not understand is that people that are good in the Marine Corps and that good Marines are going to be good outside of the fucking institution.
Oh, 100%. Yes.
And that is why if you have a first sergeant, if you have a gunny, if you have a fucking sergeant major trying to tell a Marine that understands his capabilities and to be like, you'll be nothing outside of the Marine Corps, bitch, fucking try me.
You know what's so crazy about that is that I experienced that when I was a sergeant. I had a corporal, and I remember his name was Moran, and Moran was solid. I'm talking about couldn't have better corporal than me, way better corporal than what I would have been. And Moran was like, I'm getting out. And I'm like, and I begged Moran. I was like, this, why would you get out, bro?
Yeah.
Like, you would be so good. He's like, this, I know. And I know that I'm good. That's why I'm getting out.
Yeah.
You know, and it made me think about it like, your good Marines are always going to get out. You know what I mean? Not because they don't like the organization, but they know that they have qualities that Fortune 500 companies would pay top dollar for. Leadership experience. They know how to run a floor. They're good at their job. They know exactly they're going to go.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Okay, I love this. All right, but in one hand we've got the Marine, who he sucks at his job.
Yeah, 100%.
He's not a good Marine.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say he's a little bit below average to like way below average. He's never getting tasked out, but he gets paid the same as you, and he just wants a job security. He wants to fly under the radar. And then on the other hand, you've got the good Marine, overtasked, oversaturated, up early, above and beyond every single time. What is the answer? What's the solution? You know, how do we fix that problem as leaders?
You got to be comfortable with failure. And I say that because I feel like when you hear the word comfortable with failure, you got to be comfortable with the fact that I got to hold that guy accountable. I got to put him in charge.
The dirtbag.
I got to make sure that he's got some type of taskers because I'm overworking the other guy. Yeah. And I got to hold this guy accountable.
Well, because, okay, so here's the thing. I'm going to play devil's advocate with y'all, okay? Because
for the first time in the entire podcast, Barry Bull is playing devil's advocate, guys.
He was so
Go ahead.
Look how
Hey,
excited
no,
he gets.
no.
This is how excited he gets.
Time out. It's because I always get put in the devil's advocate.
You are
position.
a Diablo, and we are going to Puerto Rico next.
Yes,
That's the
let's
next
do it.
trip. Anyways, as a leader, we got mission accomplishment, dog. We can't be out here playing games. I got dirtbag over here. I got home run hitter over here. I'm picking home run hitter. You know why?
Every
Because
single
I got
time,
a deadline. I got a mission. I got taskers. And if I assign this real world task to this dirtbag,
gonna
window
drop the ball.
licking, helmet wearing, Jerry's kids Marine, and it goes south, I'm on the line and I'm going to be asked, why did I give that task to that Marine?
And I'm gonna ask this question, and I remember asking this question because somebody asked it to me. They was like, Thick Pen, if you think so and so is such a piece of shit, why did y'all promote him? And I ain't have nothing for that. I remember it too because he was one of my corporals and I was a sergeant, and I didn't do my due diligence. I didn't counsel him. I didn't follow up. I didn't do what I was supposed to do. And when it finally came down for him to have the score for sergeant, I walked in there. I was like, "Do not promote him. It's a bad idea."
I'm hold up, dog.
And they looked at me. They're like, "Thickman, where's the paperwork?"
Yeah,
and I was just like,
because I'm a sergeant major, retired. Hey, I'm a sergeant major. You said counseling, and I heard it. Is that the answer? Is that part of the answer?
"Yes." And I feel like a lot of times, like, we don't want to do that because we don't want to do it because we don't want to hurt the Marine. But at the exact same time, you got to take into consideration that you're hurting the Marines. If I put this guy,
Can you say that again?
yeah, a lot of times, like, we don't want to counsel the Marine because we feel like we're hurting the Marine. But if you take it into consideration and you don't counsel that Marine, you're going to end up hurting the Marines. And what I mean by that is that Marine is going to go on and get put in a leadership position, knowing damn well that he should not be in that position. But because you didn't do your due diligence and counsel him and follow up and everybody didn't back you, he gets promoted. And guess what? Now he has the exact same responsibilities that you have, meaning that he can go in the exact same places that you can go, whether that's in the offices or in front of those Marines. And now he's going to be in charge. And it always bites us in the ass because we don't want to do that. But you have to. And I had to tell that Marine that. I told him, I was like, look, man, like, I love you as a human being. You know what I mean? Like, I'll drink with you on a Saturday in a heartbeat, but I cannot see you as no sergeant. I know I would be fucking you over if I put you in that position because I know you're not ready and I know that you wouldn't even be able to handle it.
But when you don't do the counseling, all the Marines see what you're seeing.
Yep.
Right? So they're like,
But
we're not even holding this guy accountable.
I'm gonna tell you this though. I'm gonna tell you this because I'm hearing you speak, and bro, I just see into the future right now, and you're gonna be fucking deadly 3 years from now whenever you are done with your recruiting tour. You're gonna be like a deadly human being. And what I'm talking about is like you will have control over people's fucking mind and over like you can take charge of any conversation that you enter. Let me tell you why.
You won't be as good as a former drill instructor.
You're whatever.
Okay, but
Whatever.
Nobody is.
Your persona of you being here, like you can take control of things, right? Mm-hmm. But now you're gonna be able to take control over how people feel and how people think, and that's even more deadlier.
Yeah. But you know what my riff is with former recruiters? You're right, but there are some out there. They come back. I wasn't out there, bro. I don't know.
Yeah,
and they're struggling, man.
Yeah, what I'm about to tell them, it only applies to a very select few people. Okay. And I'm going to tell you this, brother, and it's that now, based on the scenario that you were just telling me that you had to go through with that Marine, now with the skills that you're being taught, you're going to be able to peel the onion to levels that you've never been able to peel the onion before. Because you've always seen Marines as Marines, right?
Yeah.
When you go on recruiting duty, you see Marines as human beings, as regular civilians. And then now you're able, based on the interactions that you have with the people when you're on the streets, you're going to be like, man, this guy reminds me of this dude that I had.
Yes.
And then now you're like, bro, let me take a step back.
Like you see him as a real human.
Let me stay, because here's the problem, here's the flaw that you're saying about the counseling, right?
Sure.
Counseling, I would say 70 to 80% of the times are done wrong. Because
way more than that.
It's because Here you go. Do you understand what's actually written down here? Yes, sign there. You don't agree with it? Don't worry about it. Take it to the staff sergeant. That's it. But now you're able to have a conversation with that individual and be like, let me ask you this, man. Like, what were the top benefit tags that you picked? And then you're able to truly understand why that person really joined the Marine Corps for. And then now you're able to put the Marines' perspective into, let's take a step back, man. Like, you joined this institution and a lot of things has happened. But bro, like, how would you feel? Impact question. I don't know if you heard that in recruiting school, but it's like, how would you feel, man, if you go back? Let's say their thing was their family. How would you feel, bro, if like you go back and you tell your family, man, I didn't get promoted to sergeant because I'm fucking up X, Y, and Z.
Oh, you know, I used to ask people that in the fleet.
Oh my god,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I used to ask Marines that in the fleet.
I used to ask them that all the time for BCP. I'd be like, are you okay? Because we can call your parents. I really want you to tell them you're about to get fired from being a Marine because you can't stop snorting burritos down at the gut truck.
I would tell Marines.
Seriously. And you're going to be at home wearing a red hat at a 4th of July parade. And Jose's laughing.
Hey, Jose, what are you laughing over?
Jose's laughing because he knows I'm right.
No. And the crazy part is that, and this is another thing. Like, Sergeant Thigpen was a completely different, you know, I was a line NCO, so, you know, I'm out there in the trenches on a regular basis. And I used to ask, I was like, does your mom and dad know, like, you know, like how you really are? And they'd be like, what? And I was like, no, like, let's just keep it a buck. Like, I bet they brag and tell their friends all the time, like, my son's a Marine. Does they know that their son can't shave his face on time?
Put Barry's face on there.
They can't.
Right
do they know
Barry's
that?
Face. Look at Barry's face right now.
You know, I used to say it. You know, my staff sergeant would be right there.
I would have to walk away if we were peers. I'd have to walk. I'd be like, okay, I'll be back because this is just. I want to see this.
I was like, you brag, and I bet you in the town newspaper. Look at this Marine who graduated this.
Oh, they got his picture up at the grocery store.
You know, I was like, does your mom and dad know that you a piece of shit, detriment to this entire platoon? You incompetent. You know what I mean?
But here's the thing though. That's what recruiting is going to teach you. It's going to teach you how to say the same thing, but in a way, in a manner that it will have people thinking like, damn, I am a piece of shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like, damn, I am a piece of shit. Like, I need to do something with my life, you know? Because that's essentially what recruiting duty taught me. You know what I'm saying? Like
you're not accusing them, you're leading them down a verbal path.
You're doing what's called
so they can realize it themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what a lot of people don't understand, man. Like, everybody, if the recruiter man did the job right, everyone should have gotten the same 12 benefit tags in front of them. Yeah. And they had to pick within this fucking 12 benefit tags. And if you're a recruiter and you did your job right, you know how to sell those fucking tangible or intangible benefits.
I was recruited in 1998. There was no tags.
I can guarantee you there were tags.
Were there?
Yeah, there were.
I do not remember this.
Yeah.
I remember a couple videos, the ASVAB, and like, I don't know.
So now what we do, just so you guys know, okay, so what we do now is, and I don't know if you're that far into recruiting school, which we'll talk about his experience in recruiting school. I think recruiting school is the best school in the entire Marine Corps, but we're going to talk about it here in a second. So essentially what happens now is applicant walks in, or you make an appointment with the applicant based on one of the many ways that you could have met the applicant, right? Yeah. Applicant walks in. The very first thing that you have to do is you have to put him in the EAST, which is the enlistment screening test, okay? After he passes, if he passes with more than a 31 score, okay? If he passes, you're doing an interview with that applicant.
Yeah.
Okay? And with that interview, you have to play him a video, which is like a promotional video of like not all, but like the major benefits that the Marine Corps offers. Yep. And then from there, you're sitting him down and you're showing him how is it that those benefits are going, or those traits are going to benefit him based on what he's looking for in his life and his career, essentially, right?
Okay.
So that's what happens. And that's what I'm saying, that if the recruiter man did their job right, everyone had the same conversation, same initial conversation with the recruiter. Okay? So you, as a staff NCO, what you need to do is you need to tap back into that original, maybe foolish, maybe ignorant self of that corporal, lance corporal, maybe even sergeant that you're sitting down and you're counseling.
Sure.
You see what I'm saying? It's like, brother, let me ask you this, man. Like, why did you join the Marine Corps?
Yeah.
No. And they realize, well, I joined the Marine Corps because usually what it usually ends up happening, what happens when you go to boot camp? When you go to boot camp,
if you go to San Diego, you get yelled at.
No, well, besides that,
Paris Island, it's like, get up, guys, it's 9 o'clock.
Don't laugh at that shit.
It's 9 a.m.
So what happens, right? Now me, Puerto Rican fucking Poppy Albert Ramos.
Oh, wow, Poppy.
It's now
Valerie.
Puerto Rican Poppy. You know what I'm saying?
Valerie.
But hey, Puerto Rican Poppy is from a kid from Detroit, from the streets of fucking Detroit. Might be from a kid from fucking New York.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That we never had anything in common, but then now we are mingling, and you're like, bro, what? Working at a factory? That sounds way better than what I was fucking doing. And now I want to work at a factory. And what happens? Goals and freaking accomplishment change throughout your first year in the Marine Corps. Okay? So civilian Barry Bull might not be the same as Lance Corporal Barry Bull.
Sure.
You see what I'm saying? So that is why as a recruiter, man, you have to bring it back and you have to be like, hold on a second, man.
Yeah.
I'm going to hold you accountable
Yeah.
to who you wanted to be when you joined the Marine Corps. And it's okay if there are some tweaks and changes,
Sure.
but I refuse to fucking believe.
You're taking them back down memory lane.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you're leveling with them and all that
Yes.
stuff. And I love that. And I agree with you. I know I like to make fun of recruiters and stuff, but I agree. I think that is the best, because when you come to communication, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And what you're talking about is you're communicating, you're leveling, you're getting on that level with that junior Marine, and you're like, okay, let's unlock this. Let's go back down memory lane, because right now I'm seeing you come off the rails a little bit, and let's bring you back to the path here. So, okay, transitioning a little bit. Okay, we talked a little bit about, they're the same rank as you. Mm-hmm. What do you think about, is there such a thing as being a Marine 24/7? I've seen a video that you did on this. I have reacted to it. Mm-hmm. It got a lot of exposure and we took a lot of heat. What do you think? Marine 24/7 or not?
When you first and foremost, like I've said it before and I'll say it again, you really got to take into consideration that you're not a Marine 24/7. Some of us are husbands, fathers, sisters, brothers, mothers, aunts, uncles. At some point in your life, you have to show up in those other aspects. You cannot show up as staff sergeant whoever, sergeant whoever. You stand late with the Marines, but you can't even stay up late with your kids. You can make sure that you check up on the Marines and send up the 5 W's, but you can't even call your spouse just to say how you doing. And a lot of times, like, we get that into perspective and we think like, oh, well, this is all I am. I'm all of a Marine. But then when it's all said and done, whether that's 4 years, 8 years, 10 years, 20, and you have nothing to show for. And then not only do you have nothing to show for, now you about to check into college as a freshman because you were a Marine 24/7. You over here have nothing to show for, and you don't even have like your goals or your aspirations, and you got to refigure yourself back out because you was a Marine 24/7. So when I say that, it's not to throw our core values out the window. That's never been the case. It's just a warning or a reminder that you have other aspects in your life that you have to show up for. You're a multifaceted creature that you do need to be showing up in other avenues of your life.
I think people get wrapped up on the tagline.
Yes,
I get it.
100%.
Nobody's saying that you are not a Marine until the day you die. Nobody is saying that you are not on call 24/7, because we are. What you are saying, if I'm hearing you correctly, is we have other areas of our life we are dramatically falling short in.
Yes.
And we need to step up with the same passion that we do to being a Marine.
That's what I'm guilty at.
Yeah.
I'll tell you this right now. I'm the first one that's guilty, and Valerie will be the first one to tell you about this.
We're going to get her on the podcast.
We're going to get her on it.
You know,
She's
one of the
not
biggest things of why that came to mind is because right before I even started the podcast, I was a solid Marine, but I was a terrible dad. You know what I mean? Like, I was a terrible spouse. I also had a drinking problem too, that nobody knew. Nobody knew about the drinking problem, where I would be passing out on my patio and waking up because the dogs were barking, and I had to get back inside and then show up and teach McMap. Nobody knew these things about me, but I was 100% in the Marine category. But in the human category, I was below average, C+ at best. You know what I mean? When you look at my leadership, I come from good lineage. And Sergeant Garcia, solid Marine that I always wanted to be like. Divorce, drinking problem, barely in his kid's life. K was solid.
But he showed up to work and just went.
Showed up to work hungover. Smelling like a brewery. But you wouldn't know. He's still closing out taskers, still moving the Marines. The Marines love him because we're 100% in the Marine category. But we fall short in the other one.
You know what I was thinking about the other day, and maybe this is not 100% correct, but I know there's a big average of Marines that fall under this. I see a lot of Marines who are like, man, like I've never had any type of troubles with my Marine Corps career. Those are usually the Marines that have divorces, that have all these things. And it's because the moments that you place the Marine Corps in second position, that is the moment that you start having troubles in your career.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about, it's still a priority. Second position is still a good priority. Don't get me wrong. But the moment that you place the Marine Corps in second position, your life is going to be a fucking hell.
I disagree. Here's why.
Okay.
By definition, a priority is one. All right? And I think we're all saying the same thing here.
Okay.
When you walk in the door, priority, dad, husband. When you walk in the door to work, priority, Marine.
That's it right there, yeah.
When you walk in the door to mom and dad, son.
No, but that I agree with you.
See what I mean?
But it's oversimplifying the problem.
It is.
Because I can tell you this right now. I have Marines that reach out to me. As a matter of fact, there's been 2 Marines actually that reached out to me. This what happened to their career. Right now, he has problems even going to his wife's high-risk pregnancy appointments because his staff sergeant won't let him go to his appointments.
Which is weird and not
that's
not leadership though. Have you told them that?
But I had a conversation with the Marine, but at the same time, the question that this Marine is asking me is, should I stay in the Marine Corps or should I get out because this staff sergeant is making my life a fucking living hell?
God, I've had people ask me that, and I know it sounds selfish, but I tell them every single time to stay in. And I know a lot of people will give me shit for that. But the reason why we have a toxic leader problem is because the good Marines get out. Yeah. And it's hard to keep them in. It's hard to get them in. Because what I'm asking you to do is to stay in even though you know something is fucked up. But if you get out, this person is going to go to a different unit and do the exact same thing again. And we're going to continue to keep wishing for someone to finally do something.
Meech, but you know, in my experience, I understand that. Yeah. And it's because you're talking at a micro level. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're very hyper focused on a micro level type of leadership, which is the people at the section level, you know, and those are important because that's what makes the institution, right? But the problem, brother, that we encounter is that, at least that I encounter in my own very personal position, is that the institution as a whole is fucked up. That's why they are trying to amend it, not fix it, but they're trying to amend it with Talent Management 2030, which is going down the fucking rails. Like, that is why the reason that good Marines essentially get out, because brother, like, I was a 14 years, dog. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was a 14 years. I was a gunny. I understand that, man, I fucking hate my sergeant major, but I know I'm not going to have the same sergeant major next, you know, in my next command. And then I can develop and nourish that you know, conversation. But the problem was, whenever my sergeant major had my back, whenever my commanding officer had my back, whenever my entire leadership had my back, well, except First Sergeant Gardner, fuck you. But he had that. No hard feelings. No hard feelings with him. But, like, everybody had my back, but Headquarters Marine Corps came back down as like, nope. That's the problem, brother. And that's the problem that...
Hold on.
Yes.
What are you trying to say here? That his perspective is only going to get you so far?
He has the right perspective. Like, I can't knock him. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to sit here and debate his perspective because it's 100% correct.
Yeah.
The problem that we're looking at is like it's the same way that when we go to college, we looked at two different things: microeconomics and macroeconomics. You know what I'm saying? Like they each different impact different things, and that's what's happening. Like the way that he's talking about will 100% impact the micro, leadership perspective on things. But whenever it comes to the macro, Marines, because what happens? Let's say you as a staff NCO, you have like, okay, well, you know what? Let's request the AA form up to headquarters Marine Corps. You have your Marines back, 100% A. This Marine has a family problem, or this Marine has, EFMP, whatever it is. So, you know what? We can play this 1,000 different ways. But what happens is that now headquarters Marine Corps is like, nope. Guess what? Needs of the Marine Corps still. Yeah. It doesn't matter about talent management 2030 or where your talents will be suited best. We're talking about needs of the Marine Corps right now.
Yeah.
And that's when shit gets fucked up. How do you feel about that? I know I said a lot.
Nah, I mean, from the micro, I really couldn't speak too much on the micro. And the reason why I couldn't speak too much on the micro is because I could only talk about the things that's directly in front of me. And I say that because like I really do believe in small unit leadership. I don't know who I'm impacting. I don't know that. I don't know if that Marine that I impact is going to go on and be up at headquarters Marine Corps and is going to remember me and remember the things that I taught him and help be that change. But I know that at the level that I'm at, because I know I'm not, I may not make it to that higher level, but I know the level that I'm currently at and what's in front of me right now. And I feel like a lot of times, unless you truly have experienced it, most people are always saying like, oh, well, this is this big entity. And I'm like, bro, like, what about the Marines that are literally in front of you?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's what I'm really passionate about. I can't control what goes on above me. I can't.
Well, it's like you said with the McMap program, you're teaching the instructors that this program's only going to work if you work in it.
Yeah.
Kind of concept. I get that. So that's super deep, man. So there was one more video that you did, and I want to touch on that one a little bit. And you talked basically about they have to stand. This is your statement. They still have to stand at parade rest for you.
Yep.
Can you talk about that? What was that message? And just go.
Right now, I'm still getting like a lot of flack for that message right now because comprehension skills are at an all-time low. All right?
Well,
it's at an all-time low in human society. So people heard me say that parade rest, and they're like, oh, well, you're a toxic leader. And we throw that word around every single time we don't agree with something. So everybody's like this, you're a toxic leader. And I'm like this, bro, like really listen to what I'm talking about. And it happened just last week. We were getting ready to do a PFT, and I was standing there. And this guy was over there. He's complaining about the PFT, and he's talking about how he's about to just get a third class PFT, and that's all he needs to get, And I'm listening, and I try to do my best to like watch what I say, but at the exact same time, I'm not about to sit in my car wishing that I would have said something. And I looked over at him. I was like this, damn, it's so crazy that your Marine still got to stand at parade rest for you though, and you got a third class PFT. And people don't really understand how powerful that really is. When you stand at parade rest, you're essentially showing them respect. But you're showing them respect even though they don't deserve it. Even though they have not honored the respect. You respected them even though they done fell out of a run. They done missed out on the taskers. They fucked you over. But you can't even express that without giving them respect for us. You have to literally stand in a submissive posture to express how you feel when this motherfucker can't even honor that. He can't. He's about to fall out of this run that you worked hard for. Show up to this uniform inspection half-assed when you spent your entire night working on your uniforms. You done told him about this situation that's going on with your family, and he failed to pass it up to the chain of command and drop the ball. But you can't even express that because you got to stand at parade rest first, or they're going to tell you to fix your hands so you can finally be heard. Yeah. And it blew me away because it's like we sit back and complain about the burdens of leadership. And we say like, dang, being a leader is so hard. I got to put people first. The Marines literally have to show you respect before they can even talk to you. So can you at least honor that respect? Can you at least be the leader that parade rest is allowing them to think you are? And that's where it came from. Like, that's really where it came from. Because I was looking at him. I was like this, man. At first, I also told him, I was like this, damn, man, we just ain't making humans like we used to. You know what I mean? I remember when humans used to be built tougher.
Okay,
Now
but
we build
you're
like Priuses.
wow.
Priuses.
Now you're a staff sergeant, though. And, you know, in the first episode, you talked about how if I'm a young Marine, I look at my leader and basically I'm a better Marine than them and I know it.
Yeah.
Right? What's my role? How can you marry those two things up? Because you're a staff sergeant. So you're leading corporals and sergeants who that's going to apply to, that they're a little bit of a dirtbag or a big one. Mm-hmm. And Lance Corporal Bull still has to stand at parade rest, and you're leading all of us.
Yeah.
How do we marry that up, staff sergeant style?
So now, from the perspective of a leader, you know, like you really got to take into consideration that nobody's really holding you accountable. You know what I mean? Nobody's saying, "Hey, where's staff sergeant so and so at? Where's sergeant so and so at?" You have to really take into consideration that you are the representation of what leadership is to these Marines. You really determine whether or not these Marines stay in the military or they get out. They give you this utmost respect because they have to, and you can't honor it. Like, you really got to take a step back and realize, like, yeah, it sucks to be the best Marine around. It sucks to be that leader. But at the exact same time, you're the only leader that these Marines may have. You may be the only good leader that these Marines will ever see in their entire career. So if you don't show up to them now, you're setting them up for failure, and you're constantly setting that cycle of just that shitty, toxic Marine forever.
So right now you are in recruiting school.
I am.
You're going to Arizona to do recruiting.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I'm excited.
Okay.
One of my first mentors was my recruiter. I still stay in contact with him today.
There you go, Barry. There you go, Barry. Hey, recruiter. What was the name of your recruiter? What was the name of your recruiter?
He's now first on ward. He's first on
First
ward.
on ward. Shout out to you, hey, recruiter
Take
man.
the shout out back.
No. Hey,
Take
shout
it
out.
back.
Do the shout out. Do the shout out. Do the shout out.
No
Jose.
sound effects.
Okay. So first on ward, still active duty. I'm glad to hear that. So you're excited to go back on recruiting, or not to go back, but to go on recruiting duty.
Yes.
What are some of the expectations that you have going on the duty?
That is going to suck. That's
Okay.
like, to
Not
be
taking
honest
anything
with
for
you,
granted. Okay.
you know, it's the simple fact that that's all I've heard. You know,
What does suck mean to you though?
that there's going to be long hours, that there's going to be moments where you're just going to feel like, dang, this legitimately does suck.
Can I tell you something?
And yes.
Life will be as hard as you think it's going to be.
And the reason why I say that is because I'm notorious for having high expectations for things, and then they come crashing down on me.
Yeah.
You know?
But here's the way that I'm gonna here's again sharing my experience, right? People told me, I actually had a first sergeant, actually master sergeant, that he told me, it's like, oh yeah, recruiting duty sucks. You shouldn't be a recruiter. I'm gonna tell you this, man. Recruiting, just like happiness, is 100% what you want it to be. Mm-hmm. And because the problem is that a lot of people that go on that duty, they go, again, with the high expectations, but they keep it in the back of their minds like, oh, this is what such and such told me. And then now the very first moment that you encounter adversity is like, I knew it, this shit was going to happen to me. I fucking knew it.
Now, can I just...
Yeah, go ahead.
One of the reasons why I say that is because when I asked that, you know, I remember when I asked people like what it was like to go up to the MACE, and people told me like, Dick, man, you're gonna be great. You're gonna do great up there. And my first year and a half, I did terrible. I did terrible to the point where I was like, who am I? And it made me question it. And I sat back and I was just like, why did everybody say that I was gonna do good? I'm not doing good. And when I asked people about recruiting duty, it was this consistent thing of, oh, it's this, it's that, it's that. And I was like, this, to be honest with you, that's some of the best news that I've heard. I want to hear that.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I heard that a lot, but what after recruiting duty, what it taught me to ask is like, bro, what was your APR?
Yeah.
The APR is like how many people you recruit on a monthly basis over the 36 months, right? Sure. So what was your average APR? If you ask that question to people, then you'll realize why they tell you that recruiting duty sucks. It's not that recruiting duty sucks, it's that they sucked on recruiting duty.
That's true.
There's a fucking difference.
No, that's
You see
true.
what I'm saying? You asked me how was recruiting duty? Fucking recruiting duty was great. I had a fucking guy that was killed on recruiting duty. I wrote 3 zeros back to back on recruiting duty. I didn't win meritorious gunnery sergeant 2 times in a fucking row on recruiting duty. And I still say that recruiting duty was the greatest thing that fucking happened to me. You know why? Because it taught me traits that are making me a shit ton of fucking money now.
Tell me when you got that blue and red ribbon that just
meant zero to me.
It didn't mean anything.
Did not mean anything. As a matter of fact, if you guys want to see it, I'll bring down I still have it. You know, it's like, congratulations, you got your fucking blue and red ribbon. I'll bring it in and I'll burn it live.
No.
That shit means fucking zero.
I am shocked right now.
I just feel like when you hear that it sucks, it's supposed to. Things are supposed to, like, if everything was easy, then everybody would be successful. And I always look at it in that perspective. When you look at champions, they're gonna look at you and they're gonna tell you, like, yeah, the training sucks.
Well, it's like we always say, man. I never met a strong person with an easy past.
You know what I mean?
We want to be hard. We want to be hardcore, but we don't want to go through hard stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm guilty of wanting smooth sailing every day. But it's like, I pray for strength, and then I'm praying.
I got to go into battle.
That's right. God puts me in positions where I have to be strong, and then I'm praying for God to take it away. And he's like, Barry, but I'm honestly getting mixed signals from you.
I would rather, and that's one of the biggest things is that I would rather people tell me like, no, be honest. Tell me how you feel about it. And I'm like this. Okay, so when I walk into this and it's bad, I'm like this. This is what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know, so that way I'm not sitting back and I'm saying to myself like, damn, man, I want to go back to the fleet. Nah, I already knew. I knew what I was already getting myself into, and I can embrace it and I can love it for what it truly is. The biggest problem is that Marines have this misconception about things when they walk into it and then they get let down. I'm already walking in with a certain expectation. So if it's up, I'm like, wow, this is great. But if it's not, I'm like this, well, I mean, this is a normal day anyway, guys.
I mean, you're talking about expectation management, and I see that in all areas of life, whether it's in the military or not, and people expect something, they envision it to be something, they think it's going to be something, and when they show up and it's not that, well, then they take their ball and stomp all the way home.
Yeah, that's the problem.
But also, y'all got to take it to consideration. Like, for the past 3 years, I was getting hit in the face. You know, so like my expectation was, you know what I mean? So like, well, my expectation of what sucks is now, and what everybody else's expectation is like, all right, well, I mean, you know, they told me right in the beginning, they said, Thickpen, like, you can't fight, and you work at the MACE. I said, damn. They said, we can get you there. I was like, this great. They said, it's going to suck. I said, oh, I can handle it. No, they were like, no, it's going to suck. We're going to expedite this process for you. And guess what it did? It sucked. And it was the best thing that could have happened to me.
Now, here's the hardest part that I had.
Yeah.
It sucked. The people that you were getting hit in the face were grown-ass experts.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Correct? Mm-hmm. Like, this was the top of the cream of the creme. Mm-hmm. Correct? Now, your life is going to depend on a 17, 18-year-old that has absolutely no type of value, no type of experience. Your mission is going to depend on a 17, 18-year-old kid tell you, yeah, I'll give it a try.
You know, like, I hear that, and I know there's supposed to be a part of me that's like, oh, shit. But coming from what I've already come from, it's like, all right, well, I mean, cool. You know what I mean? Because it was just like, for so long, like, I felt a certain way about myself, and I thought of myself as this person for so long, that to come out of that and to be who I am now, it's like, all right, well, I mean, like, I feel unstoppable, to be honest.
I'm telling you this, man. You have all the freaking tools, specifically in your mindset.
Yeah.
Like, with the mindset that you have, you're going to do outstanding things.
You're going to
make
it, man.
Yeah, no. It's not you're going to make it. You're going to thrive. There's a difference in between making it and thriving. You're going to fucking thrive in this fucking business.
You know.
I tell you that right now. I know it. I feel it. Now, let's transition into something a little bit more outside of the Marine Corps. It's your podcast.
Yes.
So you have the Talking Crazy podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, the number one thing I want to know is, we're retired.
Yes.
You know, we out. Well, you still in.
Yes,
getting hit in the face every fucking day as of right now. Well, now learning how to be
a
recruiter.
Yeah.
But where the fuck do you find time in order for you to do the podcast?
I don't find it. I just make it. You know, and when I say that is like, if I was looking for time, then I never have it. You know, I have to make these things happen for myself. So when I'm podcasting at night. I'm podcasting when the kids are asleep. I'm podcasting at probably like 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning when I can make that time for myself.
Oh yeah.
You know,
so it's a priority for you.
Yeah, it's literally, this is what I want to do when I get out of the Marine Corps. Yeah. And you know, a lot of people, like, you know, we sit back and we say, like, you know, that saying, like, people make time for the things that they want. I want to have a top 100 podcast. I want to be known for podcasting, and I know that I have to put in that work. I only have 6 or 7 years left to get my shit together, and if I don't, then I'm gonna be working at Walmart. That's what I told myself. I was like, Demetrius, if you don't get your shit together, you're gonna be working at Walmart. So after you get done, after you wake up early in the morning, you go a condition, you go you do the course, you PT, and you come home, you better find time you better make time to podcast. Even out here, I brought my equipment. I was like this, just because you're in school, that don't mean that you still got a schedule. You still got to run it. Yeah. This is literally my job. It's like my part-time job almost.
Yeah, it is 100%.
Yes. Like everybody, I'm pretty sure y'all tracking, like, this is really like.
Yeah. Okay, but but you wrote a book as well. Tell us about your book.
So my book, An Extraordinary Thought from an Ordinary Mind, was a play on my old title of Extraordinary Thoughts from an Ordinary Mind. And I took lessons in my life and I put them in the book. And I talked about, you know, my separation. I talked about my drinking problem. I talked about my suicide attempts. I talked about everything that was going on. And I also talked about the great moments in my life. You know, I got to throw that out there because we always talk about like bad shit that's going on in our lives, but I also talked about highlights in my life. Yeah. But I put them all in there, and I wanted it to be so easy that a Lance Corporal could pick it up and read it. And I ain't trying to say like Dream Marine's dumb, but I mean, like, you know.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I love that.
You broke it down Barney style.
Yes.
I would like to say.
There it is right there. I broke it down Barney style. Yes.
Yeah. I do the same thing with real estate. I break shit down Barney style. And the number one thing that I always say to people is like, listen, the very first few days that after you get pre-approved, it's like we're busy owing.
Yes.
What we're doing is we're making sure that our sights are aligned and that the sights are looking at the target, and then when you click that button, that it's actually shooting black, right? So breaking down things Barney style is something very important. Demetrius, I want to say thank you from a very bottom of my heart, bro. I am truly thankful to having this conversation with you, brother, and for you to coming down here and have this conversation with us. I'm not gonna wish you nothing but the best, because I already know that with your mindset, you're already expecting the best. I wish you to be nothing less but extraordinary out there in every single other thing that you decide to do in your life, not way past recruiting duty, brother.
Thank you so much.
You're gonna be, and I truly mean this, brother, you're gonna be successful at whatever you propose in life, because I know that you will prepare. And I know that you will execute to the best of your abilities, brother. Thank you, brother, for being here with us today, man.
Thank you so much.
Guys, we have come to the conclusion of this podcast. Make sure that you guys go follow Meech Speaks. Meech, where can people find you at?
Once again, so just like that, another extraordinary thought left this ordinary mind. I hope y'all enjoyed this episode half as much as we enjoyed making it. Please follow me on Instagram at Meech Speaks. Meech is spelled Meech. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and lastly, don't forget to check out the Talking Crazy podcast, available every Monday and Thursday, available on all streaming platforms.
Let's go, Barry. Where can people find you at?
You guys know where to find me. Instagram, @Bull5277. TikTok, @Bull52772. This is the A to B podcast on YouTube only. Everything that we do in here, we do it for you. We want to bring guests in here. We want to talk about topics that are relevant, not just to us, but to you guys. I feel lucky meeting you. This guy is a Marine Corps celebrity. We got Meech Speaks on here, and he is that Marine. If you have any questions, anything, any comments, share our content. It helps us. It keeps us going. And again, man, this is the dream right here, and I'm honored to have you on here as part of the A to B podcast. I've been on his podcast before.
A couple of times, actually, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Really?
And
nice.
It's amazing. So, yeah, that's where you guys can find me. Click the link in my bio. Schedule a call. The call is free, and the change is going to last you a lifetime.
Let's go, guys. You guys know where you guys can find me. You guys can simply go to the link in this bio, go ahead, go and schedule an appointment with me. I can guarantee you that I will bring extreme value to your life. If you're looking for a real estate professional anywhere in the 50 states, including Alaska, Hawaii, Puerto Rico, it doesn't really matter. Make sure that you guys go and check out the link in my bio. And I should have said, don't forget to subscribe, okay, guys? I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a good one.